Good morning everybody, welcome back to cilinixfxcapital. Hope you're all doing great and welcome to this new video right here on Ondo. It's been a while since I covered this, my apologies for that, because obviously, I tried to cover Ondo, or at least I tried to keep you all updated on Ondo quite a bit, right? So I'm sorry for that, but there just was a lot to update, right? It's been a quite busy 2 weeks, of course, but we're covering it right now. Although at this point of time is still at a crucial level, and there's some interesting things going on in the market as well. So we're going to do a full update. First of all, I wanted to speak a little bit about some fundamentals for Ondo, because first of all, TVL has been flat. Now, that's not necessarily bad. That's also what we saw over the course of the majority of 2024, and we also rallied regardless of that. However, I read a post on X or Twitter earlier or over the course of the weekend, I think, and I'm not going to go too much into depth about that because ultimately I don't know the full details, and I also cannot know the full details. But it was quite bearish, and it was some bad news about some early token sale participants for Ondo not being able to get their tokens, not being able to sell their tokens, and just a team doing some shady business. And I think ultimately, like I said, I don't know the full credibility of that. I think there were some flaws in that post as well, but there is a little bit more negative sentiment coming out and around Ondo, and I think that is something you need to be aware of. But for now, let's get right into the technicals. So the technicals itself, look, at this point of time, Ondo is at a major resistance level. We're at the yearly rolling VWAP, and you can also see that this level is historically very, very respected. So it's not normal that we get a bit of a reaction here. However, the question is how deep are we going to fall? Because I do think short term, we're going to fall down lower. All right, and that's for multiple reasons. First of all, like I said, it is a very strong resistance level. But then you can also see on the higher time frames that we created quite a big bearish divergence, right? I mean, we made a higher high compared to Friday last week, but the volume was lower, the RSI was lower, and the open interest was higher, but that's leverage. Do you really want to have more leverage when the volume and the RSI are lower? I don't know. So that in combination with, and also some market-wide bearish momentum, by the way, or at least altcoins weakening against Bitcoin, makes it more likely that we're going to pull back. But then there's two main areas where I think we can pull back into, and both of those would say something different. The first level would be the value area high at 97.5 cents. If Ondo is able to get a strong reaction there, then we can actually break out. Then we can break out above $1.10 and we can rally into the next price target, which would be right here, as you can see. Right here around 1.25. Psychological level, but also the first liquidity zone we would get to. So that's the first scenario. Do I think this is most likely? No, I don't think so. I think if we're really going to pull back lower with the crypto market here, I think it's going to be a little bit more sustained, and I think it's going to be quite devastating for a couple of traders. And the second level would be, because ultimately I do think Ondo is going to break out. It's just not clear to me when that's going to be. But ultimately, the other level which we can pull back into would be a little bit lower. So that would be around the 12-hour trend right here towards 92 and 88 cents. Right, we have a lot of support there. If we drop down into that, I would still say that Ondo is relatively bullish, but then it's going to take a little bit longer before, a little bit more of consolidation before we can break out. And I will also still keep you updated on that in due time. But that would be the inferior scenario, of course, but I would argue that something like this is a little bit more likely at this point of time. But I'll keep you updated on that. And like I said, keep your eyes on that level at 90, 98, 97.5 cents as well for a strong reaction. But that is what I think you need to know for now. So if you do have any questions, let me know down in the comments. For now, thank you for watching. Take care and bye.